well, we'll get started. Tonight we're just kind of going over an introduction to the program and what you can kind of learn and understand what to expect from the program and how it's going to benefit you in your life. Okay, these guys have already ran through it once. They've already taken the whole year program. They started with me last year and went through it, and they're wanting to do it again. And so they've kind of heard some of this, but I have changed some of it since we started last year. We made some changes just to kind of make it easier for people and more user-friendly, so to say. So in this video, you'll just kind of learn more about what the Success and Wealth Academy is about and how it benefits people and how it can help you in different parts of your life. Why I put this program together and really what it's going to do to help people. Through life, we start out, as babies, we don't really know a lot, and our environment and our parents and our friends and our teachers and our coaches start to teach us about how life should be, and a lot of that comes from observation of our world. And as we're observing our world, we start to learn how things should be and how we should expect things. And unfortunately, a lot of the same limiting beliefs and the same traditions from our family and our friends and our environment get programmed into our brains of how life should be, what to expect financially, what to expect out of a relationship, what to expect in our own personal health, our own personal development, our own personal spirituality, and a lot of that comes from our environment. And when we look at our environment, we either see it and go, yep, that's how it should be, or else we look at it and go, anything but that. There has to be something better than that, right? And that can be good or bad. There's a lot of, kids who come from wealth and financial success who don't really like it. They don't like the publicity. They don't like the attention. They don't like those things. And so they're like, you know what, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't want to be standing on a pedestal. I don't want people looking at me that way. I want just to be a normal person. And then there's people that are born in poverty. They grow up in poverty and they're like, anything but this. There's got to be a better way. This is not what I want in life. And so sometimes it comes both directions. But either way, we got to figure out what we want in life and how to get that. And there's some things we're going to talk about today that's going to help us do that and or keep us from that, whichever we want, whether we want to be very successful or whether we want to hide in corners. Okay. Wallace Wattles, in a book titled The Science of Getting Rich, said that money, the ownership of money and property, comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. And those who do things in a certain way, whether on purpose or accident, get rich, while those who do not do things in a certain way, no matter how able they are or how hard they work at it, remain poor. And as we observe different people in our life, people that are successful, whether it's in business and they make a lot of money, or they're successful in relationships and have a great marriage, or they're very healthy in their success in creating a good, healthy body, they do certain things in a certain way. And there's been lots and lots of people that have studied these people to figure out what are they doing. Problem is they're only looking at half the equation. They're looking at what they're doing physically. Oh, well, they get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they do this, and then they do this, and then they do this, then they do this, and then they go to bed, and they get up and they do this. And they're driven, and they're this personality type, and they're this and they're that. And they're looking at all these things that the tactics, I call it the tactics, what they're actually physically doing to become successful and wealthy. And then other people read their story and study what they did, and they start doing the exact same thing these guys did, and it doesn't work for them, but it worked for these guys, okay? And so just because you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful and wealthy. There's lots of people who get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they're very poor. Okay, there's people that get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they're very successful and wealthy. There's people who work really, really hard and they're very successful and wealthy. And there's people that work really, really hard and they're broke and poor. Okay, so it's not necessarily working hard. It's not necessarily what you know and what degree you have. I know a lot of people who make $250,000 a month, or a year, and they're flat broke. They're still living paycheck to paycheck at $250,000 a year. Bob Proctor, he says the first year he made $1 million in 12 months. At the end of the 12 months, he was broke. He didn't have anything. And he's like, where did the $1 million go, right? And so it's not just about having knowledge, working hard, and making lots of money that makes someone successful and wealthy. There is a certain way to do it, and there's a recipe to follow. If you grew up in an environment that taught this recipe, you might naturally be doing things to create success and wealth that you don't even realize you're doing, and you're accidentally doing it. And when Wallace talks about that, whether on purpose or accident, okay, you can consciously or subconsciously be doing those certain things in a certain way to create success and wealth. Some people learn it accidentally or from their environment, support it and teach it, and this is where wealth tends to be generational because it tends to be taught through environment. Poverty tends to be generational because it tends to be taught through environment. And what our environment teaches us, we take on. And we're going to talk more about that when we get into some of the law of our kingdoms. Okay? So it really doesn't matter how hard we work, even though work is part of it. It doesn't really matter how much we know, although intelligence and knowledge is part of it. It doesn't matter what our product, our service, our business, or what we're doing in life. There's real estate agents that are very successful, and there's real estate agents that struggle and can't, seem to make ends meet. There's contractors that are very successful, and contractors who work paycheck to paycheck the rest of their life. So it doesn't really matter the industry, it doesn't matter what you do. Some people do things in a certain way and they know the recipe. Some of them do it accidentally, and some know exactly what they're doing, know exactly how they're going to get there. When you look at someone like President Trump right now, who's the President of the United States, someone who's been that successful, you would think knows exactly what they're doing and how to get there. And I remember, whether I agree or disagree with him being the President of the United States doesn't matter, but I remember on election night, the media was saying President Trump has one way to become president and win the elections. And he knew exactly how he needed to win the elections, and he did it. Okay, his running count, his opponent, Mrs. Clinton, they were saying that she had 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that she could win the presidency. But because she had 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that she could do it, she didn't win. They're also a very successful family, but obviously President Trump knew something that I knew exactly how I knew going to win this presidency, and he moved in that direction, did things in a certain way, and won. He only needed one way. He didn't need 3, 4, or 5 different ways he could win. And when you look at someone that's that successful in that many businesses, whether he's honest or dishonest doesn't matter, whether he's doing good with his money or not doing good with his money doesn't matter. He knows the recipe to success and wealth, or he couldn't achieve what he's achieved in his life. And so some people do it accidentally, others do it on purpose, and they figure out what to do. Because if you understand the recipe to chocolate chip cookies, every time you make chocolate chip cookies, you're going to get chocolate chip cookies. But if you don't have the recipe of chocolate chip cookies, but there's some chocolate obviously in there, and there's some chips in there, so you get some chips of wood, right? You throw some chips of wood and some chocolate in there, and you try making chocolate chip cookies, you're not going to get it right. You've got to have the right ingredients, you've got to have the right amount of the ingredients, and they've got to be applied just at the right time, or you're not going to get what you're looking for. The same thing applies with success and wealth. Either you know the recipe, or you don't know the recipe. Some people accidentally stumble upon the recipe and they'll do it once and they succeed. Then the next time, because they didn't understand what they did, they try it again and then they fail. And they try it again and they fail. Some people, like I mentioned, their environment just teaches the recipe and it's a part of them. After you've made chocolate chip cookies 50 times, you can probably do it without having to look at the recipe. It's just part of you. And you know exactly how much and when and what to do. And you get perfect chocolate chip cookies every time. Same thing applies with success and wealth. Once you learn the recipe, it doesn't matter whether you're trying to build a large business or run for the presidency of the United States. You apply the same principles, you're going to win every time. Okay, there's 2 parts to the recipe. There's universal laws, and then there's personal laws. Okay, first, universal laws. Universal laws are like gravity. Gravity is a universal law of science. And the law of gravity is what keeps us floating on, or keeps us from floating around and keeps us walking and sitting on the ground. Okay? Now, if you don't understand the law of gravity, it's also going to keep you from flying. But when you understand the law of gravity, you can use gravity to fly. So planes and helicopters actually use gravity to fly. But because the people who designed airplanes and designed helicopters, they actually go, oh, we understand gravity. We know how to design a machine that's going to overcome gravity and actually use gravity to fly. Okay, and so these laws, what makes a law universal, like gravity, is that it applies to everyone equally all the time. It works 24/7. It never takes a day off. It never calls in sick. It works all the time, okay? And it works equally for everyone. The law of gravity doesn't work harder on someone unless, some person's kind of floating, the other person can barely crawl because gravity's so weighing so heavily on them. It works equally for everyone all the time, okay? Now, the problem is knowledge without application is worthless, okay? You can read a book and gain knowledge about these laws, and if you don't apply them to your life, they're still probably going to work against you. Because that's the sad part. If you understand the law, it probably works for you. If you don't understand the law, it's going to work against you. If you've ever known some people that just seem to get so much done in such a short period of time, and you're thinking, man, how do they get so much done in such a short period of time? When these laws start working for you, you can get more done in less time because they're not resisting. You're not working against them. They're supporting you and helping you. And so things just go a lot smoother. You have less resistance, you have less redos, you have less effort without results, and you get better results with less effort when the laws work for you. So it's really important that you understand these laws, and we're gonna go over about 18 to 20 different laws throughout the next through all the different programs as we go through it. And we'll talk more about the program, but you're going to learn a lot about these, and you're going to have the opportunity to start applying them. You have daily assignments you're going to be doing that's going to help you take these laws, understand them, and then start applying to your life so they start working for you instead of against you, which makes life a lot more abundant and easy. Okay, the second part is our personal limiting laws. Okay, these are our subconscious and our conscious programming. When I was talking about from, as a child we start to grow and we take on some of these belief systems about how life should be, these are some of our limiting laws. If we end up going to the grocery store with mom or dad to buy groceries and we're standing there waiting to check out and we see the candy bar rack, we're like, hey mom, hey dad, I want a candy bar. And every time we ask for a candy bar, they say, we don't have enough money for that. Okay, if you hear that enough as a child, you could create this personal limiting law that says there's not enough money for what I want, there's not enough money for food, there's not enough money for extras, there's not enough money. And you have this very, very powerful law that says there's never enough money. And if you have a law that says there's never enough money, it doesn't matter how much money you make, there's never going to be enough money. And you can make $1 million like Bob Proctor and still have no money and not enough money at the end of the year. Okay, you can be making $250,000 a year and still not have enough money because it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's the law that's telling you there's not enough money, and you create a world, and we'll talk about this when we get the law of change. That law will create the outcome of what the law is and what you believe about life. Okay, these personal laws help us interpret our world. I mentioned that when we're younger, we observe our world and how it affects us and how we interact with it. But over time, these laws become so powerful, and instead of us observing and watching, it starts to create the world. So at first our world starts to create our belief system and these laws, and then eventually these laws and beliefs create our world. And so anytime you start to feel like, oh, I'm just not in control of my life, or oh, I really want to be more successful, I really want to grow my business, I really want to improve my marriage, but no matter how hard I tried, it just doesn't work, it's probably because you have some of these limiting laws that's keeping you from having that. And so you can make $1 million a year like Bob Proctor and still be broke and not have any money. So that's really how these universal laws are going to affect, and these personal laws are going to affect our success and our wealth. Not only that, it's going to affect our marriages, it's going to affect our relationships, whether they're business relationships or personal relationships. It's going to affect our health. We have laws about health and how healthy we can be and what it means to be healthy. Okay, I want you to look, I'm going to teach you a couple of these laws and how they apply to our success and wealth. So the first one's called the law of truth. This is a universal law. It applies to everyone equally, and it works 24/7. Okay, first of all, before we get into that, I want you to look at this picture right here, this large cactus plant. And in the background there's blue skies with some clouds. There's a bunch of desert sand and mountains. Okay, so in this picture, can you see any water? Raise your hand if you can see water. It's a desert scene plant, right, with a cactus plant in there. As you look at that, you're going to be able to see that there's a cactus plant with needles. There's blue skies. There's the desert sand and mountains. And if you understand the law of truth, you're going to see water in this picture. If you don't understand the law of truth, you won't see water in this picture. Because it's there, but because our environment taught us something that's only a partial truth, we only see partial truth, okay? The truth is, this cactus plant is clear full of water, okay? But our environment probably taught us, danger, ugly, avoid. And so you can be stranded in the desert and die of thirst, surrounded by water, if you can't see truth. This is how our environment just only teaches us partial truths. Oh, you're not worth $1 million, you're only worth $100,000. Oh, you're not worth $100,000, you're only worth $10,000, okay? And it tells us we're worth money, but they don't tell us really how valuable we are. Okay, if you get stranded in the desert and you run out of fluid and water, you can literally die in the desert surrounded by water because you can't see the water in the cactus. All you see is needles, danger, something to avoid. This happens with our life all the time. And we set limits on ourselves and say, I can't do that, that's impossible, that's not going to happen, because we are limited based upon the image, the pictures that our environment has taught us about how life should be. And then we write this down as a limiting law. Okay, so when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see a cactus, or do you see water? Do you see the truth about who you really are? Do you see how valuable you are? Do you see your potential that you can have millions and millions of dollars? The difference between $1,000 and $1 million is what?
3 zeros.
3 zeros. Zeros are nothing. They represent nothing. So the difference between $1,000 and $1 million is 3 nothings. That's the truth. But yet we place this huge number, like 3 zeros. That's a lot. That's $999,000 difference. Correct?
Yeah.
That's looking at the needles. The needles, if you're all you're focused on is the needles, you're going to say, oh, the difference between 1,000 and $1 million is $999,000. Okay? But if you see the truth, the difference between $1 million and $1,000, and I just lost, is 3 nothings. And when you start to understand some of these laws, you're going to understand how simple of a concept that really is. Okay? It's just as easy to attract $1 million as it is to attract $1,000. The difference is the limits we put on it. We say the difference is $999,000, when the reality is it's 3 nothings. There's really no difference. Okay? So what lies have your environment taught you? You're not good enough, you're not deserving, you can't have that much money. If I have that much money, it takes it from someone else. I've heard that one a lot too. Well, there's only so much money in the world. If I take it all, then it's, if I'm rich, that makes someone else poor. What? That doesn't make any sense at all. Okay? But again, that may make perfect sense based upon your environment and what your environment's taught you. Okay, so the next law I want to talk about is called the law of kingdoms. This explains more of how these personal limiting laws come about. Okay, from birth to present day, we've been observing our world and our environment, listening to those that are important to us, parents, teachers, coaches, those mentors we've had in life. Okay, and they've taught us things like there's not enough money for a candy bar, or that candy bar will make you fat, or that will spoil your dinner and you can't have that right now, right? And so they've given us all these excuses as why we cannot have what we want in life. They've told us things. Anyone ever heard someone say time is money? Okay, I heard that a lot when I was younger, working for older gentlemen, right? Older people are like, time's money, get working. If there's time to lean, there's time to clean, right? So there's never rest at work, okay? There's always something to do. Well, a lot of people grew up with that. Time is money, meaning the more time I put towards money, the more money I get. Is that a true or incorrect law? Incorrect. That's the needles. If you look at the water, money is time. Okay, time is the only resource in life that's actually fair. We all have 24 hours in a day. How we use that time is where it becomes unfair. Some people work 1 hour a day and make millions of dollars. Other people work 16 hours a day and can't pay their bills. That's where it becomes unfair. The more money you have that's residual coming in, the less time you put towards money. And that money, and then that time comes back to you. Most people say, well, you can't buy more time. Well, yes, you can. By putting less time towards money, right? And so if you're working 5 hours a week instead of 60 hours a week, how many more hours do you have a week to do those other things you want to do? 55 hours, right? Well, can you work 5 hours and have multi-million dollars rolling into your pocket? Yes, you can. But if your environment said no, you can't, you have to work hard for your money. Can you allow money to flow to you easily?
No.
Okay, so if your environment told you, by the sweat of thy brow thou shalt eat the bread all the days of thy life, can you allow money to flow in without sweating?
No.
Probably not, okay? If your environment taught you money is the root of all evil, well, I want to go to hell, so I definitely don't want money, right? Okay, so there's a lot of limiting laws about money that our environment can teach us. Now, is it partial truth? Maybe. Is it complete garbage? Maybe. Is it 100% true? Maybe. It depends on the law, okay? But I can tell you money is not always hard, and you can ask people that have lots of money. It's not hard to make money. There's lots of wealthy people in the world that are not evil. In fact, they use the money to do a lot of good. So that can't be a true law. Money cannot be the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil, is what it should state. Okay, but we don't hear the love part. We just hear money's the root of all evil. Okay, money is a tool. A hammer is a tool. A hammer can build a mansion, and the same hammer can tear that mansion apart. It's a tool, but how you use it depends on whether the effects of it. Okay, money is like a hammer. It's a tool. You can use it for good, and you can use it for bad. You can use it to create, and you can use it to destroy. The problem is the media only focuses on the bad the money does in the world, right? Oh, look at this person, they had all this money, look at all the bad they did with it, right? It doesn't really highlight the good that money does. And so if we're watching the media, and all the media is saying is how money is bad, and I'll look at all the bad things that money does, and look at all these people that did bad things with their money, it's easy to start to think, well, money's the root of all evil. I mean, look at this guy. He had money, and look what she did with her money. And especially if you've been in business and you had a bad business deal with someone that has more money than you, and you can say, oh, well, they just rob the poor and feed the rich, or whatever. What's the Robin Hood saying? Well, that's rob the rich and feed the poor. But a lot of poor people are going, well, rich people just take advantage of poor people. Well, yeah, that happens sometimes, but how many poor people take advantage of rich people too, and overcharge them and charge them more for their services because they know they have money? I saw that plenty in the construction world. You roll into a job site and you look at the size of the house and you automatically up your bid 30 or 40%. Why did you do that? Is that not robbing the poor?
It is.
I mean, robbing the rich?
It is.
The poor robbing the rich, right? It goes both ways. Money's a tool. You can use it for good or bad, and whether you're rich or whether you're poor, you're going to use money for good or bad. Okay, we have limiting laws about relationships, like I'm not lovable. Okay, this is common, especially if you come from a divorced family. If your parents got divorced when you were young, kids love to blame themselves for their parents' divorce. Oh, mom left or dad left because I'm not lovable, right? And that happens when you're a younger kid, and then you get to the dating age and you start dating, and everyone you're dating is leaving you, and it reinforces that. Oh, well, they dumped me because I guess I'm not lovable. And then you get married, you actually find someone willing to put up with you for a while, and you get married, and then you push them away because you're unlovable, and eventually they divorce you, and you go, oh, yeah, see, I'm not lovable. I don't know, I'm just not a lovable person, right? Bull crap, everyone's lovable. Well, most people are lovable.
To differ there.
Everyone has potential to be loved. We'll say that.
Okay.
People I love leave me, right? Same thing can happen. I'm not worthy of your love. There's a lot of people that feel like, oh, I'm just not good enough for you. You're such an amazing person, and I'm just not worthy of you and your love. And that can come back from some of that self-esteem stuff too. So how do you know if you have limiting laws? Ta-da!
Everybody has limiting laws.
Well, results, right? Look at your results in life. If your bank account is zero or you're living paycheck to paycheck, you've got a limiting law that's telling you you can't have anything extra. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. You can get a raise and all of a sudden your expenses go up with your income. You can win the lottery and all of a sudden you're bankrupt in 3 to 5 years. Because results don't lie. Your laws will produce your outcome. And we're going to talk about that more when we get to the law of change. You're going to see the circle of change. You're going to see how powerful these laws are in creating the world as we know it. Okay? The results don't lie. So how does this law of kingdom affect your success and wealth? What you believe is what you're going to get. Whatever your law tells you, your personal law book about how life should be dictates how your life is going to be. And it produces the outcomes. Okay? And so, the law of attraction, this is probably a law you've heard of. If you've seen the movie The Secret or read a lot of the self-help books, they're going to talk a lot about the law of attraction. And they'll say things like, what you think about comes about. Like energies attract. And that's very true. But then people start saying, well, yeah, but I wasn't thinking about that and yet it still happened. I wasn't thinking about a car accident. Why did I get in a car accident? Well, you may not have been thinking about a car accident. You may have been thinking about how I can't have any extra money this month and I got a raise and I have an extra $1,000 and now you get in a car accident that actually costs you $1,000 to fix your car. Okay? So you may not have been thinking directly about a car accident, but you're thinking about how you have all this extra money. And if you have a fear that if you have extra money it goes away, then the car accident may have been a way to make the extra money go away. But it's very powerful. All these laws work 24/7, and they work equally for everybody. They don't discriminate. They're either working for you or they're working against you. And if you don't understand the law of attraction and how thought is energy, and feeling is energy, and action is energy, and you don't understand how that energy goes out and attracts a similar energy and starts placing things in your path of life, right? Tomorrow, I attracted something and there's going to be the perfect opportunity for me tomorrow. Or tomorrow there's going to be a train wreck. I've attracted one or the other. Okay, but everything that stands in our path is something we've placed there through the law of attraction. Charles Haanel, he was Napoleon Hill's mentor. He says thought impregnated with love becomes invincible. If you combine thought energy with the feeling of love energy, this becomes a very powerful attractor. And it's invincible. What does invincible mean?
Can't be stopped.
Can't be stopped.
Strong.
It's very strong, right? And so if you can add in the feeling of love with your thoughts of the things you want, it becomes a very powerful attractor. And I can testify of that. Okay? I love helping people. And that, because I love helping people, I'm able to help a lot of people. I don't love making money. I love helping people, and money follows. There's a really important aspect that we teach in here is that we love people and use money, not the other way around. And a lot of people that do bad things with money love money and use people. Those are the ones you see on the news. Doing illegal things, doing bad things, taking advantage of people, right? Because they love money and they'll use people to get it. But when you love people and use money, the money always follows. And there's a lot of those people in the world too, and they do lots of good with the money, but they don't broadcast it on the media. They do it in private, and they do a lot of great things in private without being noticed, and they don't want to be highlighted for it. They're not looking for attention for it, because they love helping people, not being noticed in the media. So how does the law of attraction affect our success and wealth?
Well, it's who you are. It's everything about you. Whatever you're resonating at is what's around you.
What you think and what you feel creates your world, right? And so if your bank account is empty, you're attracting that. Okay? If your health is in the toilet, you're attracting that. If your relationship's not doing well, you're attracting that. And so you got to look at what am I thinking and feeling about my money? What am I thinking and feeling about my relationship? What am I thinking and feeling about my health? If you're scared to death of cancer, and you go through your entire life fearing cancer, most likely you're going to die of cancer. Okay? Not necessarily, but there's a good chance you will. Okay? Because what you fear is another powerful feeling energy. Okay? Love is the opposite. And so if you're fearing something, that's a very powerful creator, and you're going to most likely attract that and get that in your life if you fear it. If you're afraid of a car accident, you're probably going to have a car accident. Well, I wasn't thinking about a car accident. No, but you've been fearing it for a long time. Ever since you saw that other car go rolling over, and you're like, oh my gosh, and you saw that person die, you've been fearing the same thing happening to you, and eventually you'll probably get in a car accident as well. It may not happen the same day or the same week, but it might be a year. Okay, the law of change is another law I want to talk about, and this kind of ties some of the stuff together, okay? So the law of change states change precedes change, okay? Meaning that if you want to change the outcome, you have to change the input. If you don't want 2, don't add 1 plus 1. Add 2 plus 1 and get 3, or add 2 plus 2 and get 4. But if you're tired of getting 2, stop adding 1 plus 1, okay? So the circle of change shows how all this works together. So this is the stimulus. The stimulus is your life as you know it. Okay, this is your bank account, this is your relationship, this is the house you live in, the car you drive in, the job you have, the boss you have, your neighbors, okay, the clothes you wear. That's the stimulus. And everything in your life as you know it right now filters through the laws of your kingdom. So if I'm driving down the road, I'm on the interstate, the speed limit's 70, I'm in the far left lane doing 85 because I have a law that says if you're in the left lane you should be driving at least 80 or 85 miles an hour. And I approach someone doing 60 miles an hour in the left lane, okay? The stimulus is the idiot driving 60 in the left lane. I mean the person, sorry I shouldn't call him an idiot. The person in the left lane driving 60 miles an hour, okay? Well, in my kingdom it says you should be driving 85. So this produces thoughts of, what's wrong with this person? Why are they driving 60 when they should be driving 85? This is ridiculous. That's 25 miles an hour slower than they should be. Okay, so it produces feelings of
Anger.
frustration, anger. Okay, so what do? To show that person I'm frustrated, angry, and that they're not following my law, they're doing 60 miles an hour and 85,
Get right
I
on
get
their butt and
closer.
flash your lights.
right? I get closer. What's the consequence?
He hits his brakes and you rear end.
Possibly. They hit the brakes and you run into them, right? The consequence, or maybe you just put yourself and them in a dangerous situation. Okay? Well, now that's your reality. That's your life, is you're in a dangerous situation. And I have a law about that says if I'm in a dangerous situation and I've put you in this dangerous situation and you're not getting out of that dangerous situation by moving out of my way, then you must be an idiot. A big idiot. And that produces more thoughts of, well, oh my gosh, this guy just wants to die. I think this person wants to die because they're not getting out of my way and they're driving way too slow in my lane. Produces more feelings of anger and frustration intensify. And so what do? I get even closer to them. I'm inches away from their bumper. We could be attached with a hitch, right? And the consequence is now we're in a really dangerous situation. They tap their brakes, we're going to have an accident. Okay? Stimulus, that's my whole new world. Now we're in a really, really, really dangerous situation. I have a law about that too. Okay? And this builds and builds and builds. It's called road rage. Okay? And this is when we lose control of ourselves and let our environment control us, and we do stupid things that put us and other people in dangerous situations. Okay? This is how powerful this circle goes. The stimulus filtered through our laws produce thoughts, our thoughts produce feelings, our feelings produce actions, our actions create consequences that then create the world we live in. Okay? Now if I have a law that says money's the root of all evil, and I win the lottery, my new world is I'm a millionaire. Multi-millionaire, possibly. Okay? But I have this law that says money's the root of all evil. What are the thoughts?
I'm now evil.
It's making me evil. Got
Or peop-
spoiled rich
Or
kids.
people will see me as evil.
People
or-
think of me as evil or see me as evil. They'll judge me. Maybe the thoughts are, oh my gosh, all my friends and family are going to want me to pay for everything now, and they're going to take all my money away from me, because maybe the lie is that the money is the root of all evil, or that people take money from rich people.
I think your subconscious would make you get rid of it.
Oh
Because
boy,
it's
will
evil.
it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even
because
though
you're
you
gonna,
may not want to, it already knows that it's evil.
consciously you're excited. You just became a millionaire, right?
Mhm.
But because the subconscious thoughts and the brain says, no, it's going to make me evil and I don't want to go to hell, so I'm going to get rid of this as fast as I can. And you'll have feelings of guilt and frustration, and you're going to start to do things with your money, bad investments, spending it where it shouldn't be, spent. And the consequences with most lottery winners or inheritance winners or insurance, people get large sums from insurance, they're usually bankrupt in 3 to 5 years. I mean, they're putting it back into the system, right? The car
circulating it.
dealership benefited, the real estate agent benefited, and yeah, I mean, there's lots of people that benefited from that money. But their situation did not improve, it usually gets worse. This is how powerful the laws are. A lot of people are like, oh, well, if I can just change my life, it will change my laws. It will not change your laws. Your laws will usually change your life back to status quo. It works the same thing with dieting. The first thing you do when you diet is you start changing the action. You take the diet pill, you start exercising, you stop eating, right? The consequence is you lose some weight. But if it doesn't last, okay, the law will eventually bring you back to the same weight. And anyone that's been on any diet or any exercise plan will testify that happens, right? But when you diet, you've got to change your laws about food, your laws about weight, your laws about being overweight, your laws about being skinny. You got to change the way you think about food, the way you think about being overweight. You got to change your feelings. This is the key to change. If you want to create this differently, you got to change this right here. Between stimulus and response, which is the action, Stephen R. Covey said there's a space between stimulus and response. And in that space is the freedom to choose how to respond to our world, and it gives us the power to control our world. Change your laws, change your thoughts, change your feelings, and you get control of your world. But as long as this is going on, you're never going to be in control of this. The stimulus will always be status quo of what the laws are. Okay? Now, what makes this so powerful, because we've talked about the law of attraction, is that your laws naturally produce your thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts and feelings are the law of attraction. What you think about comes about. Thoughts impregnated with love become invincible. Okay? This is the natural reaction of your laws. This is why changing your laws is key and not trying to change your life is key. If you want to change your life, you change your laws. If you want more money, you change your laws about money. If you want a better, bigger, more successful business, you better change your laws about that. Because you can spend thousands and thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars in advertising and building your business, but it will never grow beyond what you believe you can have. I had the opportunity to meet with a very successful car dealer owner. He owned quite a few car dealerships, and had lunch with him. And we were talking about marketing and advertising. He says, he's like, I've tried spending $20,000 to $80,000 a month on advertising.
Wow.
And he says, I found that about $40,000 is key for me. Because if I double and spend 80, I don't produce any more sales. If I spend less, I lose money. So he obviously had a law that said, if I spend $40,000 a month on advertising, it works for me and it produces the right amount of income to grow my business and do things that way. And that may seem like a lot of money to some people, but there's some businesses that have a $40,000 electric bill every month.
Yeah.
So that's not a lot of money for some businesses. If I had a $40,000 electric bill for my house, I'd be calling the electric company saying, "What the heck is going on?" Right?
I guess it depends on how big your house is. I mean,
That's true. I guess if I had a
Buckingham
really,
Palace.
that's true. Maybe it'd have a $40,000 bill. Okay, but remember that our laws produce our thoughts and feelings, and our thoughts and feelings are our attraction powers, and it happens at a conscious and subconscious level. Consciously, I want to have $1 million. Subconsciously, it will never let me have it. Which is more powerful, the subconscious brain or the conscious brain?
Subconscious.
Subconscious brain is more powerful. If you don't believe me, hold your breath. Subconscious brain controls your breathing. Consciously, you can stop breathing for 20, 30 seconds, maybe a couple minutes tops, and then eventually your subconscious brain says, "Hey, I'm in control." We're turning off the conscious brain, you pass out and you start breathing again. Okay? Or you'll just take a breath because you can't override the subconscious brain. So if you consciously want $1 million, but your subconscious laws say, no, you're an engineer, you're only worth $50,000 a year, you'll never have $1 million. until you can change that to say, I am worth $1 million. But if you go to school for 4 to 6 years to become an engineer, and the whole time they're telling you engineers make $50,000 a year, you can write a law that says I'm only worth $50,000 a year because I have a degree to prove it. And so it can be very limiting on what you can. And there's some people that says, oh, I didn't go to college, so, and they told me my entire life, if you don't get a degree, you're never going to make any money, right? How many people believe or have a law that says I have to go to college to make money?
Yeah.
Colleges are clear full of those people, right? And there's you can make money going to college. If you become a doctor or a lawyer, there's opportunities to make lots of money, but that doesn't make you wealthy or successful. I know a lot of successful doctors that are poor, and I know a lot of doctors who are making lots of money that aren't wealthy. And so a lot depends on this law and how powerful that law is for you and what it's doing for you. Okay, so when people say the law of attraction doesn't work, it's because they consciously want something, but their subconscious laws are contradicting it. So that's where you've got to get the conscious laws and the subconscious laws syncing and working together, and then all of a sudden your attraction power becomes very powerful, and that removes a lot of those limits. But how do you identify that subconscious law? You're not aware of it. It's at the subconscious level of the brain. You don't even recognize it most of the time, right? But there is a way you can start listening to yourself think, which people don't even pay attention to what they're thinking, let alone listen to what they're thinking. You can pay attention to what you're feeling, because you can reverse engineer yourself back into your laws. Okay? If you feel guilty when you have extra money, what were you thinking that created the guilt?
Not good enough to
I'm
have
not
this money.
good enough to have money, right? So what's the law? If your thought is that, well, I shouldn't have extra money, then the law is I'm not good enough to have money maybe, right? Or I'm not deserving of the money. I didn't work hard enough for the money. I didn't sweat for this money. I shouldn't have that. Okay? I didn't work with my hands. You know, I said a few things on Facebook, or I did this and the money just started flowing in, or I made this video on YouTube and the money just started flowing in, and I didn't work hard for that. I can't have this money. And you'll start to sabotage it. Remember, these universal laws work 24/7. They're either working for us or they're working against us. They're either giving us what we want or they're keeping us from what we want. And if your subconscious laws don't support what you consciously want, now you've got universal laws working against you, and you got your subconscious laws working against you, and the chances of getting what you want is slim to none.
You're screwed.
And if you get it for a short period of time, you'll sabotage it. Okay? Have you ever had something really awesome, a great job that was paying really well, and you lost it as fast as you got it? Or you bought a brand new, really nice car, and within the first week you had to wreck it, scratch it, dent it, because maybe you have a law that says I can't have nice things. And your entire life you've had used cars and bought used cars, and you finally get up enough courage to go buy a brand new car, and then you scratch it or dent it or wreck it in the first month or the first week, right? Because you can't have anything nice. It's got to have that one scratch on it. Okay? Happens a lot. Happens in our relationships. It happens in our health. It happens in our finances. We will sabotage those things that we consciously want because the subconscious doesn't support it. Okay, so Transcends Success and Wealth Academy is here to help. Okay, we're going to teach you how to identify those limiting laws. We're going to teach you about the universal laws, so they all start working for you and allow you to start creating that life that you really want. Whether you want a better relationship, or you want more money, or you want more health and better health, this program is going to help you do that. Okay? There's 4 different classes to take. Each class is 13 weeks in duration. Okay? There's the Success and Wealth 10-10 class, the 20-10, the 30-10, the 40-10. Okay? Each class you're going to be dealing with different laws. Okay? You're going to get a list of laws that you're going to change. You're going to change over 2,000 laws that are fundamental laws that based upon Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow was a psychologist that he came up with what's known as the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it says our first need is basically nutrients. We need food, we need water, we need oxygen. Okay, we also need love, we need acceptance, we need accomplishment, we need to reach our true and best, what I call our true and best self. and we have these 5 innate needs that we have, okay? And if our laws or if our environment didn't teach us that we are capable of having these things, they're going to limit us. These laws are also going to go over and talk about Erik Erikson's psychosocial development stages. There's 8 of those. The first one, between the ages of 0 and 2, we either learn to trust our environment or distrust our environment. So between the ages of 1 and 2, if we grew up in an environment where we maybe weren't taken care of, we were neglected, and there wasn't enough food, and and there wasn't a safe place to live, we may have learned to distrust our environment. Okay? And so we're going to go, these list of laws you're going to get, you're going to go through and change and rewrite these laws. We're going to go through and build this strong foundation, this is your footings and foundation for you. We're also going to teach you how to identify your personal limiting laws, because my personal limiting laws is going to be different than your limiting laws or your limiting laws, because we grew up in different environments. And so each person comes with a different law book and how life should be. And we're going to teach you how to identify those limiting laws so that it applies specifically to you. There's a law editor you're going to use where you basically just plug in the undesired law or the incorrect law or the deceitful law that's not true, and then you plug in the correct law that you want. And as you do that, it actually changes the subconscious programming. And so instead of saying money's the root of all evil, your subconscious believes that money is the source of good, and you can do a lot of good with money. You can rewrite it to say whatever you want. You can rewrite the law that says I'm not lovable to I am lovable. And you start to feel lovable, and all of a sudden you start to react to your spouse different and other people in your world that are close to you. And those intimate relationships you have start to become more fulfilling and more rewarding. These classes are going to help you start doing things in a certain way. We talked about there's that recipe. You have to do things in a certain way. You're going to be doing daily assignments. This is like a college course. Okay, I don't want to scare people off, but you are going to have daily assignments to do. And the reason you're doing these daily assignments is to get you doing things in a certain way. Okay? You can go attend a 3-day event, and you're going to come off that event excited and hyped up and ready to move, and then you go home and you do what?
Do nothing.
Go back to your old routines, right? Okay? You're not going to do that with my program. You're going to have homework every single day to do to apply what you're learning to your life. Remember, knowledge without application is worthless. Okay? One of the things that makes this program so unique is the application side. We are heavy on application. You're going to be doing, and doing to get different results, because we know the law of change says if you do something different, you're going to get a different outcome. And if you're not doing it differently, you're going to keep getting the same outcome. You can go to a 3-day event and get pumped up and excited and learn lots of information and go home and fall back into your same old routines doing the same thing over and over and keep getting the same results and going, well, that didn't work. Well, no, the knowledge that taught was true and it would work if you'd apply it, but if you don't apply it, then it doesn't change. And so it's getting you to do things differently. You're going to learn that recipe of success so you start getting the things that you desire and want, and start attracting things the way you want them. Okay, we're going to help you rewrite that subconscious limiting laws. We're going to teach you about the universal laws. But that application is really key. So those daily assignments, in the Success and Wealth 1010 class, it's 13 weeks long. You got 13 weeks worth of assignments to do every single day, and doing things in a certain way. Okay, you're going to read certain books. Okay, but you're not just going to read the books and go, oh wow, that was great, yay, read the book, right? You're going to read the book, and then we're going to talk about the book. And we're going to talk about how it applies to your life. And you're going to see how these laws, and learn more about these laws, and reach a deeper level and understanding of these laws, so you can apply them to your life and start making those changes. Okay, you're going to change those personal limiting laws using the law editor. Okay, and you're going to set certain goals. If you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter which choice you make. You can go left or right, frontwards or backwards, if you don't have goals. And you've got to have a direction, a place to go. And so you're going to have certain goals. You're going to have some of your assignments, you're going to learn how to use the law of attraction to get what you want. And each week you have an attraction law. And you're going to start learning how to use that law to create things and get what you want, and get really confident and very experienced in that law of attraction, and using it to give you what you want instead of keeping you from what you want. There's also weekly classes. This is one of the weekly classes, right? We're going to record these so they'll be available online to watch, or better yet is to attend a class if there's one close to you that you can attend. Because When you attend it, there's other people in the class, and you can get to know them. There's a power in like-minded individuals meeting together in a room. It's called a mastermind group, okay? And so there's these mastermind classes that you can attend, and if you're not able to attend them, you can just watch them on the video class. In those classes, we're going to learn and apply those universal laws. We're going to talk about some of the laws in the classes that you won't find in the daily assignments. And so you'll make sure you want to watch the videos and come to one of the classes to learn about these laws. And we're going to help you learn how to apply it to your specific situation. We'll be talking about that. And well, how does the law of increase of life apply to you? Well, how's the law of change apply to you? Well, how's the law of attraction working for you? And we're going to be talking about all these different things. It's an extremely powerful program. And again, it's that application side that really sets it apart from a lot of the other programs that are available. We're going to be doing, not just talking about. But you're going to be a lot of doing things. So the purpose and goal of the class is to help you make success and wealth a natural and automatic part of your life. Most of us, failure and disappointment is a natural and automatic part of our life. Right? We work hard, we make money, and then we run out of money before we run out of month. Right?
There's more month at the end of the money is what my
Yes.
dad always
Is
said.
that, there's more month than there is money, right?
There's more month at the end of the money.
And we keep doing that day in and day out, over and over and over. And why? Why do we do that? Because our environment told us that's the only way. But that's not the only way. There's a better way. You can make success and wealth a natural and automatic part of your life. But you have to work through all those limiting laws. You've got to learn and understand these universal laws and how they work and get them working for you. Okay, one of the guys that did the program, he was working about 50 to 60 hours a week, doing $15,000 to $20,000 a month in his business at about 10% profit. Okay, once he understood these laws and started working them for him instead of against him, he was working 30 hours a week, doing $50,000 to $60,000 a month in business at 45% profit. This is the power of these universal laws. When they work against you, you work your tail off
They really work against
with
you.
little to no results. But when you understand the laws and they start working for you, you put forth less effort, less time with a lot more results. Okay? But we're not just going to leave you hanging on success and wealth. We're going to focus on 5 areas of your life. We're going to focus on wealth. We're going to focus on relationships. We're going to focus on your health, your self-development, and your spirituality. When surveyed, when you ask a bunch of people, what is the most important thing in your life, regardless of the answer, it falls in one of those 5 categories. They're going to say something about spirituality, God, right? They're going to say something about family, kids, spouse, parents. They're going to say something about money. They're going to say something about their health. They're going to say something about their self. Okay? Now, these 5 areas, you need abundance in all 5 areas. When I was a contractor, I was contracted to go do a bid for a guy. Okay? The year before, he'd build a $250,000 gazebo in his backyard. You know what a gazebo is? A little rectangular thing where you sip on lemonade or smoke your cigars, right? $250,000 gazebo, copper roof, all custom made. Like, this thing was all out. This dude had more money than he knew what to do with. Okay? Well, the next year his basement floods, and I was contracted to come in and do some work in his basement. About a week before the job started, I got a call saying the job had been canceled. I was like, what? It's like a week's worth of work for me. Are you kidding? You can't just cancel the job a week before it's supposed to start. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, his wife filed for divorce and he offed himself. Okay? So he succeeded with wealth, but he failed in his relationship. And he didn't feel like life was worth living. Money has no value. Money is a tool. Okay? Relationships have value. Business relationships, personal relationships, there's value in relationships. They're meaningful. Money, not so much. And you can ask most wealthy people. People who have wealth but don't love money will tell you money has no value.
They'd rather have a relationship.
Relationship's more important, right? But when we have a relationship and no money, what do we value more?
Money.
Money sometimes, right? And we put how much time do we spend a day working for money?
Yeah.
How much time do we spend in our relationships? Okay, if you're working an average 40-hour week, you're giving usually 50 hours a week to money. By the time you look at your commute, your breaks, your lunch breaks, and your 8 hours to 9 hours of employment,
About 70-30.
right? You're still putting forth almost 10 hours a day for the average person is towards money. Well, you only have 24 hours a day. And if 10 of those is going towards money, and then you're sleeping another 6 to 8, that doesn't leave you with very much time for this, or this. It's really out of balance. Okay, so learning how to create abundance in all 5 areas is key. We don't want you to become successful and wealthy and have your relationships fall apart. That's defeating the purpose of success and wealth. Okay? The reason we have this is to enhance these 4. This is the tool to make these 4 better. But we put so much time towards this, there's no time for these other 4.
Yeah.
Okay? So the program is going to help you focus on all 5 of those and create abundance in all 5. And at first you might see this improve, but this may not improve. You might see this improve, but maybe this doesn't, or this doesn't improve yet, right? Because whichever one needs the most improvement is probably where you're going to see the most results first. Because you don't want to grow your wealth if your health is in the toilet. You don't want to grow your wealth if your self-development's in the toilet, right? You want to bring those all back up so then they all start to grow together. Make sense? Okay. All right, so how do you get started? You got to go to lawsforsuccess.com to register. Okay, you can click on the register tab. It's up in the right corner of the screen. You sign up. It's free. There's no cost to sign up. Okay. Then click on Success and Wealth Academy 1010 free trial. Okay. I'm offering this program for free for 4 weeks. This is unheard of in the life coaching and mentoring world. Most of the time they want a big chunk of money up front and get you connected and get you committed to the program, which is good because if you're not committed, you're not going to get anything out of it. And that big chunk of money up front shows that you're committed. Okay? Well, I'm trying this a little bit differently, and I'm letting you try it for free because I want you to see how powerful the program is. I don't want you to say, oh, no, I can't afford that, or that's not worth it. I want you to try out the program and see how powerful it is, because then at the end of the 4 weeks, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Yes, it's worth the $900 to finish the program. Okay? And so the first 4 weeks is free. After the 4 weeks, if you want to continue the last 9 weeks of the 13-week class, it's $100 a week. So normally the 10-10 class is $1,300, the 20 class is $1,300, the 30-10 class is $1,300, the 40-10 class is $1,300. Okay, so for a full year program, it's going to be $5,200. But you have daily assignments. They're giving you things to do. You have weekly meetings. You've got weekly goals. You've got attraction assignments. It's probably one of the best programs I've ever seen. I've done a lot of the programs. And I mean, not to be biased or anything, but it is the definitely best the program that exists. Because it's mine and I could no. Because it really is very effective, right? We're not just learning, we're applying, we're redoing, we're readjusting, we're relearning, we're reapplying. And the result is change. The law of change states you change what you're doing, you're going to change your outcome. This program does it for you. Okay. Now to get started too, once you get registered, you want to go to Amazon or click on the website. There's a bookstore and it has a link to the journal book. This is the journal that goes with it. Okay. It's like $20 on Amazon, but it's all 13 weeks, and there is a blank place to write every single assignment. Okay, there's even a checklist down here so you can check that you did the assignments. There's a place at the beginning of each week where you write your goals. You have weekly goals, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, and 5-year goals. And so you can keep track of all your goals. You can check off showing the ones that you've completed and the ones that worked and the ones that didn't work. There are, at the end of each week, there's 4 pages of just blank pages where you can keep track of all the notes that you've taken from these meetings or the videos you watch from these meetings. So it's all in one place, okay? What makes it so powerful is as you're going through there, if you feel like, oh, I'm kind of struggling this, you can go back through and kind of see the improvements. There's a self-test you're going to take at the beginning here where you can rate different parts of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. At the end of the 13 weeks, you get to take the same test, and you can retake the test to see what has changed. Okay? And I just realized there's a misprint there. Because of the test at the end, it starts with question number 11 instead of 1. So for some reason it went all the way through that and numbered it that way, but I'll go in there and get that changed. But so it's a really effective companion to the program. You don't have to buy the journal. You can just buy notebooks and keep track of it, but one of the assignments you will be doing is keeping a gratitude journal. And so if you figure you're looking at buying a couple notebooks and you're looking at buying a couple journals, this is probably going to be the cheaper route to go, even though it's $20 for the journal. But if you look at notebooks, or anywhere between a couple dollars to $5 a piece, depending on how nice the notebook is. Most journals are $10 to $20 for a journal anyway. So it's a nice way to make it less expensive for the most part, as well as it keeps it all in one place, so you're not trying to find different notebooks and look for things in multiple notebooks. The first book you're going to read is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, and so you want to get that one on order too, and get that one shipping to you if you're wanting to do the program. And once you get in here and you sign up for the Success and Wealth Academy 10/10 free trial, it'll give you access to the syllabus. Okay, it's a day-by-day syllabus, step by step. It says, here's your morning assignment. Do this when you first wake up. Here's your evening assignment. Do this right before you go to bed. Okay, I recommend when you first get up and right before you go to bed, but you don't have to do it at that time. Okay, you can do it on the train or the bus as you're going into work. Okay, you can do it on your lunch break at work and utilize some of that time. If you get a 15-minute break every 2 or 3 hours at work, you can do some of it while you're on your break. Okay, there's lots of time throughout the day where you can utilize to do this. One of the biggest fears people have is, well, I don't have that much time. Where am I going to find time to do this? Okay, it's really easy. You close down your Facebook account.
Yeah.
You turn off the TV and cancel cable. No. Okay. You can find time, right? There's always enough time in the day to do the right thing. There's not enough time in the day to do the right thing and the wrong thing. Okay, so if you're not finding time to do this, you may need to stop doing some of the wrong things that's not moving you towards the things that you want. Watching TV does not move us towards the things we want. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it relaxing? Yes. Can it be therapeutic? Yes. 4 hours a night? No. That's maybe an addiction, right? Was it Bob Proctor? No. James Arthur Ray. One of them said, wealthy people have big libraries, poor people have big TVs. You can judge that the way you want. But there's things you can be doing that's improving yourself and helping you move towards what you want. And sometimes just sitting down and relaxing in front of the TV is a good thing. It's a way to relax and cool down from a hard day, or just to settle down. But make sure that there's plenty of time in the day to do this, and you'll be surprised, especially when you start getting those universal laws working for you. You actually have more time because you're getting better results with less effort, and so it actually creates more time in your life by doing them. So, so this is how you get started if you're interested. If you want to come to this class here we're talking about now, we're starting that on February 1st, so next Thursday we'll be starting that class. It's 13 weeks long. It's going to be located here where you're at right now. The cost is normally $1,300, but you're going to get to try the first 4 weeks for free with no obligation. If you try the first 4 weeks and you're like, no, I don't see how this is going to benefit me, done deal. You don't pay anything. You don't have to do anything else. Just stop coming to class and stop doing the program. So that's how confident I am in the program. Okay, I'm so confident that I know you're going to love the program and you're going to want to continue the program. And I don't want money to scare people away, because $1,300 seems like nothing for most coaching programs. Okay, I've seen coaching programs and mentoring programs that are $20,000, $100,000 that are like 30 days long, 3 days long. You meet 12 times in a year with someone and you get 12 meetings for 50 grand kind of thing. Okay, this program is way more intense. It's way more effective, and it's really, really inexpensive at $1,300. But again, for some people, $1,300 can be a big chunk of money depending on where they're at financially. If they're living paycheck to paycheck, that can be a big chunk of money to come up with. Okay, but I promise that it's going to be worth every penny. And the people who have taken the classes will testify of that as well, that it's definitely worth the money. In fact, it's really cheap for what you're getting in the program. So, any questions? Anybody? Clear as mud?
Clear as mud,
Awesome.
ready to get after it.
All right, we'll get registered, get signed up, and you'll have access to all the information. Okay, so once you click here on the registration button here, it'll take you through registration process. You're gonna read through some policies, and there's a non-disclosure agreement. So once you get here, you have to check a little box saying you agree with the non-disclosure agreement. Don't share this outside with people who have not registered. This law editor is extremely powerful. It's about as close to brainwashing as it exists. And it's a tool like a hammer, and it can be used to hurt people, it can be used to help people. So I don't want people having access to that law editor unless they're also doing the program and have that ability to learn how to use it correctly to make sure it benefits your life. When I first started doing and I created this law editor, my business had just tanked, the economy just tanked in 07, 08, and I was doing a bunch of things about success and wealth and trying to rebuild my business. And I remember I did a bunch of laws before I went to bed one night, and I woke up the next morning, and my wife and my kids were such a pebble in my shoe. I couldn't stand to be around them. They just irritated the heck out of me, and I felt like they were holding me back and keeping me trapped in this horrible business financial situation. Okay, that was like night and day and oil and water for me. I love my spouse, and I love spending time with my spouse and my kids. And for some reason, the way I stated those laws cut my family out of the equation. And I had to go back, and luckily I'd written all the laws down. And so I went back and I changed some of those laws that I could be successful as a husband and a businessman, as a father and a businessman, rather than just as a businessman. Okay, and so that's where these laws are extremely powerful, and I don't want them hurting your relationship. So make sure that you write down the laws. In this journal, there's a place each week and each day where you can write down any laws you change to make sure you have a record of it. Because if you wake up the next morning and you don't like the results, go back and look, and you may have did something not exactly the way you want. But you're going to get help in learning how to identify some of those laws and how to change them correctly in the program. And so, but with that non-disclosure agreement, check the box saying you agree not to share it with anybody else. Okay. Now, I will caution you on this one thing. The law of the harvest says what you sow is what you reap. Okay. If you choose to not honor that agreement, to not share it, and you choose to share it with somebody, okay, the law of the harvest will destroy you. So please, for your own sake, don't share it, not for mine. Okay. I'm really not worried about people sharing it because I know that the law of the harvest is going to
Take care of it.
take care of it for me. Okay, so please just keep it to yourself for your own safety and for other people's safety as well. Okay, so once you get there and you get logged, in and you hover over, you put your mouse or you touch this on your phone or your tablet, this drop-down menu will occur, and then you can come and click on Success and Wealth Academy free trial. Okay, so you'll click here, and this will bring up the program. Okay, and this is the syllabus, and right here at the beginning you can print a version. If you want to print the syllabus, you can print it if you like the paper version. If you just want to do it all online, you can just come in and click on one of these. So here's week 1, day 1. If you click there, it'll take you right to day 1. Okay, there's going to be these videos will be posted up here, and so you can watch these videos. They're going to be about a week behind because we're recording them, and it takes about a week to get them edited and then on the website. And so this time next week, you'll see the introduction video. A week later, you'll see week 1, then you'll see week 2, and they're going to be coming just about a week behind the classes. Okay, but make sure you read the instructions right here. You're going to want to read through these instructions. There's a list of things you're going to need. This is the law editor I was telling you about. When you click there, it's going to take you to the law editor. You'll probably want to print that one because as you come over here to your laws, there's a list of laws in the morning, a list of laws in the evening that you do, and you'll want to have that law editor because you're just going to plug in to that law editor the morning laws. Okay, so this is the list of the laws. This first line is the incorrect law. The next line is the new correct law you want to plug in. And so when you see the law editor, it's this paragraph, and there's 2 blanks. This one goes into the first blank, this one goes into the second blank. It's really simple, straightforward how to do it, okay? If you have any questions though, you can email me. There's actually going to be there's a Facebook page. It's going to be private. Anyone who registers, I'll put you into the Success and Wealth 1010 Facebook page, and you can go in there and you can ask questions and get answers from me or from other people in the group. If you have questions about some of your limiting laws, a lot of people are going in there and saying, okay, I have this limiting law, what do you think the opposite would be? Because as you're identifying your own ones, you just want to plug in the opposite. If I have a law that says money is the root of all evil, I want to plug in that money is what? Good for me and others, or like whatever you believe the opposite of evil is. Money is righteous and worthy, or money is a beautiful thing that does amazing good things with it, or whatever you want to do, right?
Money makes my wallet fat.
Money makes my wallet fat. I like that. Okay, so this is what you're going to see once you get registered and logged in, and then it just basically comes down and takes you through the whole process. This video we just recorded is going to be right here, so you're going to see the syllabus or this index, and there's going to be a video, and then it will start with the instructions. So that's basically how it's going to look, how it's going to work. Any questions?
No, looks good.
Cool.
So you start straight through, or you have breaks in between the 10-20, 10 and the 20-10?
Either or. This class will just go straight through. So as soon as we're done with 10-10, we're going to jump right into 20-10. If you're doing it online, just watching the videos, you can take a break. If you want to take a big break, you can wait for another year, because I start over every year with 10-10 and teach the classes every year, and it takes a full year to get through them. And so if at the end of the 13 weeks you need to take a break and you want to do it in class, you can wait until next March and then jump into 20-10 again, or you can just take the rest of them online and watch the videos. So it just depends on what you want to do. So
Being in
good
class,
question though.
Being in class is, you'll enjoy it.
No.
You go home with you leave with a whole new, renewed sense of being. Just makes you feel awesome.
But that's coming from a guy that wants to meet twice a week.
Yeah, right.
Well, but it's also
That's
coming from
why
a
I
guy-
only meet twice a week.
But it's also coming from a guy who, when we started this, was like, what the heck are we doing, and are we coming back next week?
That's
Yeah.
true, because when you first
Yeah.
start, you're like, what is this? And I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing.
Right?
It only took 4 weeks to figure that out.
But you figured it out.
Yep.
And now you see the positive changes and all the stuff that's coming into your life, and
Immense changes.
seeing miracles occur. And
I just, when we're on the road in June and July,
oh yeah,
I could still, if I'm out of town,
yes,
we could do that with the videos.
yeah. And so
But it's
if
just doing the daily tasks that is important.
yeah, and the videos, these classes are important because we're going to be talking about some of the laws here that's not mentioned in the daily assignments or in the books you're going to be reading. I can't have everyone read all the books I've read, and I've gathered all these laws from a lot of different books and a lot of different programs I've done, and so some of that will be taught in here that's not in the books. And so if you're on the road or you're going to be gone for business or something and you can't make one of the classes, you can just watch the video, and then when you get back, start coming to class again.
Okay.
And so that's part of the video too, is if you miss a class, you can still get the information without having to wait for another year to jump into the program again.
Okay.
So. Make sense? Clear as mud.
No, it's an awesome program. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Okay, well, that's all I've got for tonight.